Alright, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen, this is Harry Muppet and we are going to be jumping into another Daily Masters game. It is once again from DreamHack Valencia, and yes, it is once again from the round of 32. So up the top right side of the map we do have our green Protoss player, PandaTank, and yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. And down the bottom left side of the map we do have our red Zerg player, SortOf, and yeah, really nice. I don't believe either of these players made it into the round of 16 in this tournament, but getting to the round of 32 of course is definitely not something that's extremely easy to do, so we can definitely say that we are facing off some very high level Masters players here. And yeah, PvZ, going to be very interesting to see how these guys do. Not really much else to say about it. I haven't been doing too much in terms of Starcraft 2 this weekend. I've actually been thinking about doing some other stuff. I've set up a second channel for my gaming and stuff like that. Thinking about it's called Harry Gaming, and yeah, I'm going to be doing everything that's not Starcraft related on that channel. I don't know what exactly that's going to be, but I do like playing other games, like getting into WoW a little bit, but I don't know if I'll put anything up on there, because WoW is just, I don't know man, it's just so popular that everybody pretty much knows everything about that game anyway. I mean, if you do want me to do some stuff about WoW, then definitely I will. Most of the time I'm just leveling alts and getting my professions up. I don't really do that much in terms of raiding and dungeoning, but definitely I can I don't know, maybe do some professions based stuff, because of course getting your professions up to the max level is a major pain in the ass. And I guess if you're yeah, that might be interesting, but all that stuff is on Google anyway, so I don't know. But I might do some other stuff as well. I'm actually downloading Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I feel like playing a shoot 'em up again. I was actually going to play some Need for Speed, but the only version I've got is Underground 2, and that doesn't even get up to 1080p on my monitor. So I'm pretty much at the stage where any game that I can't play at 1080p, I just don't want to play. So yeah, that's going to be that. But I mean, we have played some other games already. It was Cube World, I think we had a couple of games of that, and that was on my main channel. But if I play anything like that again, that'll be on my alt channel, and yeah, so on and so forth. But right now, just getting stuck into this Daily Masters, and PandaTank is doing a Forge Fast Expand. Going to be very secure here, but that's actually a fairly standard route to go for. And here we go, the Cyber Core coming down, so he's going to be pretty safe. SortOf, we're going to be seeing that, going to go down for a very fast third, which is, it's all pretty much standard stuff at the moment for both of these players. And I guess in the next couple of minutes we will be seeing what exactly happens. Now, PandaTank may be going for a very fast robo off the cybernetics core. We have seen some Protoss players do that a bit, and it actually leaves them a little bit open, but you know, they can still mainly pull it off. But there is a potential to get hit around the 7-8 minute mark if he does go for a fast robo. But he's going for a fast Stargate instead, which pretty much puts him in the same spot, but you know, he should still be alright. The problem here with the Protoss player is he's only got one gateway, and trying to defend any sort of fast 6-7 minute attack with only one gateway, you pretty much can't do it. So you could go safer, and instead of that building a Stargate, you build 2 more gateways, and then you're able to hold it off without too much problem. But in a game, a long-term game, then the chances of the enemy attacking you this early is not very high. So usually you just don't have to worry about it. So anyway, moving on. What is this Zerg player doing? Not a whole lot. He's just macroing at the moment. We do have the spawning pool on the way. There we go, he's getting a roach foreign, so perhaps thinking about a 10-minute push, or perhaps just thinking about roach tech for most of the game, and we'll see exactly how that goes. But he is getting a very decent amount of workers out now. He's only a little bit ahead of PandaTank though. PandaTank really doing a nice job at getting his own worker numbers out, but of course he has got that very early expansion, so he should be alright. Take that out. This Zealot in a very, very nice position, but a nice bit of micro. Actually sees most of those Lings surviving, so very, very nice there. A very small victory from SortOf, but a victory nonetheless. And this Phoenix, meanwhile, has got 2 Overlord kills under his belt, and there's actually 2 more Phoenix down there, so they can actually start thinking about sniping out some Queens, maybe. Yeah. Although a bunch of Spore Crawlers are coming down. There's 2 on this base, and there's 2 on this base, and there's 1 on this base. So yeah, he should be fine. He might be able to snipe a few things though before the spores come up. I don't think he's got enough time to take out the Queen before the spores come up though, and PandaTank obviously thinking the same thing, decides not to go for the Queen, just goes for some fast drone hits. And yeah, that's going to be very, very nice. And yeah, he's doing a pretty good job so far. SortOf does have this this map awareness sort of thing, but the Phoenix definitely gives PandaTank some decent amount of map control as well, and he is constantly hitting workers here. He's yeah, just got to make sure that he waits for the shields to regenerate, and yeah, he'll be laughing. But SortOf actually going for a fairly fast Hydraless Den. He's not going for a massive amount of roaches. He knows with the Phoenix on the field, basically the Phoenix aren't a super threat. He's not something he really needs to worry about, but he is going to get the Hydra Den out a little bit faster than players normally would, and really just start getting into the Roach Hydra nice and early. He's actually getting Ling speed as well, so that's a bit interesting. I'm not sure exactly what his plan is, but maybe he's just getting the Ling speed for the hell of it. And here we go, he's going to try and get another worker here, but not quite able to do it. He's yeah, just couldn't quite get the worker out. He is going to snipe a Roach here, but with 8 Hydras out on the way, this may be the only Roach that these Phoenix take care of. And yeah, other than these Phoenix coming out, there's not really much going on. PandaTank has very, very successfully shot up to Colossus Tech, and yeah, we'll see what he can make of that. He's getting up a lot more gateways. He's got his own 3rd base down, but SortOf not really falling behind in any stretch of the imagination. He's getting his 4th base up. He's got 11 workers ahead. So the Phoenix Harass hasn't really knocked back his worker production that much. He's perhaps not extremely far ahead, but he's definitely far ahead. And the Hydras, meanwhile, just jumping around a little bit, looking for the Phoenix. The Phoenix see the 4th base. And if we have a look at the units tab real quick, Panda really hasn't built a massive amount of ground units. He's still getting that 1 Colossus out, is he? That Colossus took like the longest time I've ever seen to get out, but finally out. And SortOf actually getting quite a decent number of Hydras, but this may actually work to his disadvantage, because I don't think he's expecting the Colossus to be coming out as well at all. So when the Colossus does come out, he'll probably have 2 Colossi by the time this army thinks about moving in there. And as long as he's got enough of a buffer zone, these guys are going to go down very, very fast. But I don't know, man. Colossus, great counter for Hydras, but still there is a very, very large Hydra population on the map. And they may have found a sweet spot to start taking out some workers here. Although 1 Phoenix going down, and a couple more workers going down, so it's not totally safe, but it is safe enough. And 1 Overseer going down. He sees a whole bunch of sentries, and he does see the Colossus. So what is he going to be doing about that Colossus tech? I'm not sure. Would not be surprised to see a Spire going down very, very soon, assuming he doesn't already have one, and he does not. So yeah, either he's got to make something happen in the next couple of minutes with his superior army size, or he's got to get a Spire, because I don't see him shrugging off the Colossi without any sort of air tech in the next part of the game, or in the late game. And ooh, it doesn't have a Spire, but he's getting a Viper, so I can only assume that a Viper doesn't actually require a Spire. I don't know, maybe it just requires an infestation pit. That's a bit unusual. I always thought it required a Spire, but of course I may have been mistaken. And Of course, the Vipers are going to be a very, very good counter to the Colossus, just pulling them out of position, and they will get wiped out very, very quickly. So, yeah, we can definitely expect SortOf to think about moving in very, very soon. I feel like he's got a very decent chance. He's sitting on a lot of units, and I feel like he needs to make something happen. I mean, PandaTank is definitely going to do a fairly good job of holding off here. He's actually got Storm just starting to be researched. He's already got a couple of High Templar. So switching over to that tech is definitely costing him, and right now SortOf has a great opportunity to go in there with his base tech and just overwhelm PandaTank a lot of the time to really make something happen. And he's going to push in there the Vipers, getting the feedback on the Vipers though, and that was a great, great move. He cannot yank the Colossus out of position anymore, and with a bunch of force fields going down, SortOf just decides to back out, but those force fields allowing him to lose quite a lot of units. He's already backed up with a ton of Roaches and Hydras though, although I'm really not sure I agree with this many Hydras, because he's just been shown that his game plan of Vipers going up against the Colossus did not work at all. And I don't know if it was just luck that PandaTank had those High Templar for the feedback, but he definitely used them when he saw what was coming. So really, really great stuff there from PandaTank. Really, really good. I don't think the High Templar were intended to deal with the Vipers, but man, when the Vipers came out, he just feedbacked them so fast, it's not even funny. And it really, really was a great defense there. We've got a few more Vipers coming in here, and they're actually got a couple of yanks here. They've managed to yank the Colossus there, and the High Templar not prepared, but the Storm is out, and he's going to get a couple of decent Storms, as well as a couple of decent force fields, really just chopping this army in half. And SortOf does have the macro to rebuild so fast. But yeah, I mean, if he can rebuild extremely fast, but if he keeps fighting battles like that where he just loses more than he actually destroys, then I don't know if he actually lost more than he destroyed. He destroyed a ton of Colossus, but other than that, I think he was on the losing end of that exchange, because yeah, man, you just cut the army in half and you just wipe it out. And here we go. This is actually a pretty crazy expansion, putting that a lot closer. He was hoping maybe to have a couple of minutes to get out and fortify that as like a forward base, but he did not have the time. Those Roaches were trying to hit the High Templars, didn't quite get there. And we've got a total ground army, but he's still going to be quite worried about the Storms. Nice job dodging there. But the next one is going to hit him straight on. No, he's doing a great job dodging there. Probably a few more dodges is all he'll need, and then the High Templars will be out of energy, although there were quite a lot of High Templars in this mix. That's at least one or two more Storms. And force fields going down. One of them hit very, very nicely, and a lot of those guys are getting very, very low on health. But the sheer macro of a SortOf really, really kicking into high gear. And I feel like even if Panda is killing more than he loses, I wouldn't 100% say that he is going to be able to hold this off forever, because the income for SortOf is just through the roof, and yeah, he's just constantly maxing out. He loses a ton of units, and then he just maxes out again. And here we go. So we got the Zealots coming out. I believe they got 3 weapons, so that's really, really insane. Hoping to find a base down here. Not quite going to be able to though, but they will go for the expansion. So this is the start of the inevitable Zealot harass from a Protoss player onto basically every other race, man. They love doing the Zealot harass, and it works versus every single race, so why the hell not? And I bet those Spore Crawlers are wishing they could face down, but not quite going to happen. And the Storms really going down perfectly here. Just perfect Storms time after time after time. Whole bunch more High Templars coming down. But for now, I don't think there's going to be any Storms coming down. They've got to wait for another 20 energy before they can storm. And SortOf is taking advantage of it. The Hydra's really going to town here, but the Archons trying to hit back a little bit, and SortOf is starting to get a little bit worn down. And a whole bunch more Zealots just being warped in here is going to finish this Zerg army off. And the Storms just knocked him down too far. And meanwhile, SortOf not really concentrating too much on this force. He's going to hit him up now, but I feel like he lost quite a lot of workers there. There we go. He's down 10 workers against PandaTank, and it's just not where he needs to be. It's not really where he wants to be, and PandaTank did a great job holding off there, and SortOf in his needing to take this army out, just didn't quite concentrate enough on saving this base. He's going to get a spire. Yeah, I thought that was a spine column, but it is going to be a spire, so he feels like maybe he needs some air tech. Oh, the High Templar is going to be in here. It's mainly a roach force though, so it should last quite a bit better against storms than the massive Hydra force he had before. The roach is going to come in here. I don't know if they're going to be able to survive that. But here we go. A lot of stalkers coming out, and the storms are not going to help the situation. And yeah, there we go. Storms gradually whipping these guys down. They're so beefy, the roaches, but storms just keep coming and keep coming. And yeah, the Archons warping in, I think are just going to finish the job off because they're just so low on health. And meanwhile, these Zealots just going nuts there. They're holding up all of the reinforcements for SortOf. He cannot reinforce because he has to take care of all those Zealots getting into his base. And it looks like they're going to go down here, maybe hoping to see a pylon, but I mean, Panda just has pylons all over the place. And yeah, SortOf, I mean, he had the macro, he had an insane amount of macro, and he was building way more than Panda was, but it was just such inefficient trade-offs. He was just losing way more than he was taken out. And even though he had the better macro, he just couldn't make it work enough. And he ended up still just losing more than he could afford, even with his better income. And now I think he is definitely on the back foot. Oh yeah, some bloody DT coming in, man. That is just absolutely harsh. Not much they can do about that, but they can take out some stuff. Hoping to get some workers. This could be very, very good here, although this base has gone down. A couple of DTs, he did manage to save most of the workers though. And meanwhile, his ground force is just getting slowly pushed back. These roaches are a little bit out of position. They should not be over there. So anyway, the Zerg manages to take this base out. I think he killed most of the workers there as well, so evening up the income a little bit. But right now, SortOf is mining, well, he's not really mining off that base. He's basically mining off one base. And Panda's basically mining off one base as well. But yeah, all those workers, man, lost. And this DT just going absolutely nuts. He really needs to crack down on that DT. And there we go. Is the roach going to attack it finally? Yes, take it down. There he goes, taking it down. And both players suffering losses from a lot of their hatcheries, a lot of their Nexi. And Panda's getting straight back into it, getting his expansion up again. And meanwhile, these forces, I don't know, man. If we discount the High Templar, then I feel like SortOf definitely has what he needs. But if this game has shown us anything, it's that you cannot discount the High Templar. They're just so good at storming stuff and just wiping stuff out. And I don't know, man. He's just not getting it done against the High Templar. He's trying his very hardest, but moves like that, the force field's right in the middle, just completely cutting this army apart and sucking in the Archons. That's a nice move, but I don't know. He really needs to suck in the High Templar, although the High Templar would just yeah, I assume he's going to try and attack these guys, but yeah, the amount of micro to attack all of those guys manually, it's just so much of a pain in the ass. He's probably just going to ignore them. And here we go, nice split on the army. We can see the storms about to come down. Beautiful storms, time and time again from PandaTank. And meanwhile, the force are just slowly getting whittled down. And I feel like SortOf, it doesn't matter what his macro is. If he continues to hit Panda with the Roach Hydra, he's going to keep getting stormed, and he's just going to keep losing because he does not have an answer to those High Templar. I mean, what is the answer? I'm not sure what it is anymore for Roach Hydra versus High Templar. I really don't, because there's just so many High Templar out there, and it's just such a massive pain in the ass. He managed to deal with the Colossi early in the game, but the High Templar is just not working. And yeah, there we go. He's going to start yanking them in. We'll see how that goes, but there's just so many of them, and trying to yank individual High Templar in is just going to be too much of a pain. And there we go. Some more beautiful storms coming down there. Some more beautiful force fields. And another row of force fields as well, just totally bisecting this beautiful Zerg army. And yeah, the inclusion of the Archons off the High Templar forces is just really, really nice. And PandaTank is just going to continue to win every single battle. I don't think he's really lost a battle so far. He's just continued to push out, continued to do all the right things. He's actually getting a little bit gas starved here. Not sure, he really should be getting a little bit more gas. But obviously he's not. Obviously he's running out of gas quite a bit, and that is actually cutting down on his High Templar production. So PandaTank, if he can overwhelm this this very, very decent amount of Stalkers, then he can perhaps thinking about making something happen, because yeah, there's a ton of Stalkers and not many High Templars. Unfortunately for SortOf, he's going mass roach because he knows that Hydras get shredded by the Stalkers, and if he actually went for a ton of Hydras right now, I think he could do some very serious damage. But yeah, he's not aware that there's no more High Templars coming out, so he's going for just pure roach to try and head this off, and that's not going to be enough to head off this very, very decent army of PandaTank. The worker numbers are the same, and I don't understand, because Alliance SO, SortOf, has actually got quite a high unit cap, and I don't know where all these guys are. 38 roaches? They're just not that effective versus the Stalkers, man. I guess Stalkers are almost a counter for the roaches, if not a counter, because they're just doing so well. And here we go, a couple of Infestors coming out, along with the roaches, so he's going to try Roach Infestor. It's definitely not a bad option. I feel like Hydras would be so good here, but he's so scared of the High Templar, and he just has no idea of how bad the gas income for Panda actually is. And the Stalkers, man, the fact that they've got a bigger range just helps them so much as well. Trapping about 4 or 5 roaches there, that's just not going to be good. And SortOf is just spending every scrap of gas he can possibly get, every scrap of minerals, sorry, into the roaches. He's actually got a ton of gas, which is probably where that Infestor tech is coming from. But yeah, it's just back and forward. Panda not really having enough to overwhelm this massive amount of roaches, but he does have enough to put him on the back foot. And look at this, man, so many roaches. Maybe SortOf can make something happen here, but there we go. Nice fungal is going to be trapping these guys a little bit. The force field splitting up these forces though is so good. And here we go, he's gone around the edge. He's just got a critical number of roaches, and this is when he potentially can start to make something happen. And yeah, I mean, the sheer amount of High Templars that Panda needs is not going to be available. He's getting in some DTs, and the DTs are going to be pretty good, but it may be just too little too late to take these guys out. I wonder if SortOf even knows there are Dark Templar in here. He's probably starting to get an idea that there are Dark Templars now that everything else has been killed. You can hear the little whoosh sound when they start hitting him. And where are his overseers? I do not know if he has any, but I mean, once he moves over and takes this base out, then PandaTank is going to be in a lot of trouble. And I feel like SortOf can definitely do it, because he's just got so many units. And I mean, I cannot overemphasize how much a Protoss player depends on gas income in the mid to late game. I mean, everything costs a ton of gas. Absolutely everything. Stalkers, I mean, Roaches cost 25 gas, Stalkers cost 50, and Stalkers are some of the cheapest gas units out there, other than Zealots and Probes. So yeah, it really does take a lot of gas income, and I believe that is definitely what killed PandaTank here. Just not having the gas income he needed, whether it was just not getting the gas fast enough on this base, or I don't know what it is, but the gas income really killed him. He was doing so well, he had the High Templars down, and they were doing beautiful stuff, and SortOf had no answer for the High Templar at all. Absolutely no answer. He had no idea what to do to defeat the High Templar, and then PandaTank just started running out of gas. He just got completely gas starved. Suddenly there's no more High Templar. It's all Zealots and Stalkers, and yeah, I mean, a High Templar costs 3 times as much gas as a Stalker off the top of my head. So yeah, he couldn't just build High Templar by himself, because then he would have only had High Templar and nothing else. So he had to build Stalkers to survive, and with no High Templar backing him up. I mean, SortOf just bounced against him a little while, and then eventually just overwhelmed him with just a stupidly large amount of roaches. And it would have happened even faster if he got Hydras, but I guess SortOf was just so paranoid about those High Templar hitting his Hydras, so he just went for mass roach and the infestors, the fungal growth, near the end of the game. Very, very nice touch as well. So yeah, congratulations to PandaTank for taking that. Oh, actually, sorry, congratulations to SortOf for taking that victory out. Nice, and very, very long game, but a very, very awesome game as well. So congratulations to SortOf for that well fought victory. This has been Hairy Muppet, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another Daily Masters.